I get a lot of good ideas from people that follow me on social media, reach out, and I appreciate all the interactions that I have with you guys and all the comments. It's hard for me sometimes to get up to read everyone's comments, and as the channel is continuing to grow, I can't always get in the weeds, but someone brought this up the other day and I thought, hey, you know what? That would actually be a decent thing to talk about. And it was around Bryce Young and Dave Canales choosing to play him, to be non-committal. And this fan brought up the idea that maybe the reason that Dave Canales is kind of situated the way that he is he's seeing this as an audition for Bryce Young and building up a lot of tape for him to be traded in the offseason. Hard to know for sure. What I do know is Dave Canales is yet to really acknowledge Bryce Young in the same way that he views Andy Dalton. Take that for what it's worth. You know, it's funny. Charles Lee, the coach of the Charlotte Hornets, was asked about LaMelo Ball's performance the other night. Hopefully they won. I think they won. Anyways, he played really well down the stretch. And Lee refused to acknowledge LaMelo individually and pointed things back to the team. And I joked and I said, Dave Canales and Charles Lee must be on the same page when it comes to their star players and how they are or are not acknowledged. And maybe that is. Maybe these are the buttons that get Bryce Young motivated. I think for me, it doesn't make sense not to give Bryce at least another year as long as he finishes the year strong. Now, if things fall apart and he regresses back to that week 1, week 2 quarterback, then yeah, we just kick this thing down the road and say, all right, that's it. We're done. The experiment is over, and I wouldn't be mad. But at least you're playing with house money right now in the fact that you have a rookie contract. It's cheap. You've got him for at least 2 more years. You could get a 5th-year option, which would be cheaper than anything that you would be paying for whatever level quarterback today, 40, 50, 60 million probably at that point. Here's the real question, and this is looking way into the future, and I can't predict it. But if you ask me today if I would be happy if the Panthers decided to give Bryce Young an extension, like let's just say he plays okay the rest of the year, and they decided, hey, we're going to extend Bryce Young, give him a 4-year, $250 million contract. How would I feel? And I got to tell you, I would not be happy. And so I think for me, knowing that I would not be happy tells me that's probably how Dave Canales feels, and there's not enough there. And that's not saying that he is going to be extended, but I think about if you told me I was getting Mahomes and giving him a 4-year, $260, like, yeah, let's do it. If you're telling me you're getting Jordan Love or CJ Stroud, any of these bigger time quarterbacks, said, hey, we're going to pay them X number of dollars over X years, I'd be excited. Say, yeah, it makes sense to do that, to lock them up. Or if we heard the Texans were going to do that, like we said to Stroud, yeah, it's like, go for it, do it. But for me, I don't have that moment. I don't have that, yeah, let's do it, that makes sense type situation to do it with Bryce Young. And maybe it'll come, but I think it lends itself for me to believe that he is more of the game manager. And if he is a game manager, so be it. I don't know how much you get out of him in comparison to other game managers around the NFL. But you possibly could start to build a winning culture and then either find your veteran in another year or go ahead and finally draft a quarterback. Now, the thing is, you continue to play well or you continue to win games, that quarterback or whoever you're thinking you're going to be able to pick up, you might be later and you might be back in the same position of having to trade back up. So you think about the Panthers, where they were when deciding to trade up for Bryce Young. They had finished that season at 7-10, remember? They were that close to getting into the playoffs. So you could have a situation where you're outside of the top 10, where you maybe don't make the playoffs, but you still have an okay record, 8, 7, 6 wins. And then you're trying to get your quarterback, and you have other teams in front of you that also need a quarterback, and the Panthers may have to sit there and trade up again. And I don't want that. So that also lends me to believe if the timing is right this year and the quarterback that Canales wants is there, that they decide to pull the trigger and get his guy. Because you never know. You never know when things are going to change. And maybe Canales feels like, yeah, Bryce Young can't lead us or take us over the hump or carry the team. But I think I know other quarterbacks that could do that in my system and pair them alongside and see what they can do. So that's my thought. But I would love to know what y'all think. And I don't even remember who kind of triggered that idea for me, but got me to thinking. So, hey, appreciate it. As always, the CD. Y'all have a good